Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and I am live at San Francisco. And in parts unknown is my co-host, Susan Layton of 1428elm.com. What is up, Susan?
Hey, Gary. Hi, everybody in the chat. Let's get ready to talk the Orville.
The Orville, Season 2, Episode 3, Home. And before we get into the episode, I just want to let everybody know we will be addressing the ratings issue because it is kind of serious, and I hate to start out with a bummer, but I will put up the spoiler sign. Spoiler alert. If you have not seen the episode, please go see the episode because this will turn into a video. It serves two purposes. Susan is my co-host, but for all the new subscribers, you guys are the co-host too. So bring your questions, bring your theories, ask whether, what's up. Whether you like the show, were you kind of upset with the first two episodes? There's a lot of people out there who are not happy with the first two episodes. Do you feel like this episode kind of turned the corner? We'll find out together. So, and honestly, it started out slow. It started out slow for me, and I was getting kind of worried. I'm like, oh boy, we have three pretty much characterization heavy episodes in a row. I understood the first one, the getting to know you. But then it was almost too much, but I think it rallied. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think, because I know a lot of people have not been happy. So we start out with an arm wrestling battle between Isaac and Elora, and which is brilliant, by the way, and he breaks her arm. And we're like, what's up with that? So she ends up going to visit the doctor, and she finds out she's losing some of her muscle mass and bone density. And she's way too young for that to be happening normally. And of course, part of her race is from a more dense gravity. And usually they're acclimated to shifts, but this apparently happens from time to time. And they have to go home, reacclimate themselves to the gravity. Sometimes it could take a couple days. Sometimes it could take 4 years. Sometimes it never takes. So we're like, uh-oh. And, yes, we have to acknowledge that JP at Egotastic Funtime has been all over this story for about a year, saying that her name is Sage. She's got one of those Southern California soccer mom names, Sage, Holston Sage or something like that, Dakota and all that, So when we will get to that. So they decide to return home. And there's no real B story in this. This is all about Elora. So we don't get a lot of the Orville, nothing really. We get a little bit of Mercer, but we're mostly following her as she goes home. So she goes home, meets her family. Captain Mercer drops her off. And of course, her dad is Robert Picardo, who was, the doctor in Voyager, as we all recognize. And there was another Star Trek star in here too. Now, I kind of recognized her mom, and I know she's been in it before, but I can't remember the actress's name. So if somebody in the chat could help me out, because the IMDb was not up to date tonight. So apologies on that. You'll get a lot of Elora's mom and Elora's sister, because you know what? We do this viscerally. All right. So roll with us. So one of the funniest lines in there was when they're flying into the planet. It's a beautiful planet. It's got a ring around it. It's kind of like a purplish Earth. And the effects in this show, while they're not as stunning as a movie or anything, they're cool. They're solid. They're good. I like them. But of course, Gordon says, "Oh man, I'm trash. I'm from trash." I get that. I definitely get that vibe. I myself am from a long line of white trash, and proud of it. Halston Sage, Gary, her first name is Halston, evidently. Halston, again, a soccer mom name, like right there. So they get to the planet, and of course the family doesn't, what the entire planet is not really down with the Union. They're a planet of scientists and academics. Even though if they go somewhere else, they're basically superheroes, but they're not into that. They're not into the military, and they look down on Elora for her choice of joining the military. And they immediately, her dad is like, "Oh, well, now that you're here," they're actually happy that she's having this problem, and they're like, "Great, you can finish school and do all this." And she's all, "No, I want to go back. I love my job." And then we get some family drama. We meet her sister. who has a PhD, and they're the proper family. And then Elora and her dad have a little bit of a fight, and they talk about how she was never he never said he was proud of her. Typical father-daughter stuff on a network television show. So and we move quickly through this. They decide to go to the beach house to come together as a family, and it's on an island, and it's off season, so it should be empty. And they head over there, and Elora's in a wheelchair, like a little floating wheelchair. Well, there's no wheels on it, but you know what I mean. And yeah, she's healing slowly, and her family's she's feeling bad enough. She wants to go back, and there's obviously this tons of baggage between her and her mom and dad and her sister for taking this job and not finishing school, and she never felt like she amounted to anything. And
hey, let
me
just interject something. Hey, Chris, thanks for the $5 Canadian. That's great. Was on the road during Orville, so I'll dip out before spoilers. Hail Gary, hail Susan, and Orville is Star Trek when Star Trek isn't.
Nope, and we will get to that because, as Susan pointed out in our very long pre-production meeting, this one, listen, the Orville is sticking it to Star Trek Discovery in a couple ways by bringing on more former Star Trek actors and airing on the same night during pretty much the same time. I think Discovery will air in half an hour before Orville starts. So yeah. It's on.
Wrath of Destruction actually told us the mom is from Herman's Head, and her name is Molly Hagan.
Oh, Herman's Head. I love that show. Oh, Herman's Head was such a great show. I missed that show.
Trinoculus has just given us a $5 super chat. Thanks for sending us to Doomcock's live stream. He was super thankful for it.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't realize I did, but cool. Yeah, you could go to Doomcock's live stream. That's totally cool. We love Doomcock here. So we get in, and we, basically it's just some family stuff. And honestly, at the 34-minute mark, it was just family drama. And honestly, I was bored, and I was about to dip out, and I was getting ready to put my notes going, is this it for the Orville? But then something interesting happened. So while Elora is sitting on the beach, she notices a light, but everybody's supposed to be gone. The caretaker had left him the house and said he was going to leave. And then all of a sudden, a couple shows up. And this is John Billingsley. I forgot the character's name. And of course, he was Dr. Phlox from Enterprise. So we have another Star Trek actor. We have two doctors on the academic planet. It kind of makes sense. So he and his wife said they were there enjoying it off season. Then they invite him over for dinner, and they're all cooking dinner. Well, beforehand, they talked about, their house looked like some stuff had been rearranged, and we're not sure what's going on. And they even questioned the caretaker. So Elora goes into full security mode, asked him if they called the police or anything. So they check out the caretaker's house, and all his stuff is there. He supposedly had left, but apparently something's up. So if they don't hear from him, they're going to call. In the meantime, they're having dinner with the couple, little chit chat, and they're talking about their son, who had got a PhD or got his first teaching job when he was 21, and how proud they were of him. And the sauce starts boiling. So Robert Picardo, Elora's dad, goes over to go get some sauce, and he goes to get the spoon, and the guy goes, that spoon's kind of dirty. Could you use something else? He's all, no, I'm sure it's pretty clean. And all of a sudden we're like, what the hell's up with this? He's all, no, I'd rather use something else. Use your hand. He's all, what? And then he pulls a gun on him, or phaser. It looks like a phaser. And so he makes, and this is where things get dark quick. He makes Elora's dad stick his hand in the sauce. And it was, I was like, God dang, that took a turn. There's not a ton of humor in this episode. And Seth did warn us at Comic-Con during the panel. He talked about how they're going to take a more of a dramatic turn for this series. I don't know if it's the greatest idea, but he insinuated there will be less humor than there was in the first season. I don't entirely agree with that. I don't think they should do that, but the one little B story that happens is Elara's replacement is Patrick Warburton,
Oh.
which is brilliant. And he's like he looks like an elephant guy, but it's his he has two esophagus, one inside and one on the outside, so he can pound food, man. I can totally pound it. Yeah. And you know, he gets in the office and you saw it in the trailer. He's all, this ship is bitching. So that was fun. If he's going to be a character on it, I think that's a decent replacement, because I thought, you know, spoilers, yeah, we're not going to get Elora back. And yeah, I just thought, oh man, they're going to miss her, but that might be a good replacement. I don't know if he's going to be a regular or not, but he's got the job. So back on the planet with the family, they take Elara's family hostage, and it turns out that Elara's dad had pretty much destroyed this guy's research paper on a vaccine. They had to give a vaccine to some children, and he had written up a paper how it was bad for him. And then Elara's dad had written a counter paper. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, saying his science was bad and he needed to go back and, you know, check his details a little bit. He was a little too quick to write the paper. And apparently the guy killed himself over it. So these are his parents. They want revenge. They take him hostage, and you know, they're at a bit of a stalemate because they want Elara's dad to do basically a retraction, and they're going to record it. And they're at a stalemate because if he says something, you know, Elara's right, they will just kill everybody. So he doesn't say anything. So he just grabs some gardening equipment. And he threatens to chop off one of Elara's sister's finger. And after we saw the thing with the hand, I'm like, shit, they might actually do this. And that's how you present stakes. That's how you make tension. Doctor Who, Star Trek Discovery writers, that's how you do it, because you set the precedent by him sticking his hand in the sauce, and you know, he had horrible third-degree burns and his hand is bubbling. So it's like, oh, they might actually cut her finger off. And they didn't, but I believe that they would. So in the meantime, the Orville has figured out a way to get Elora back. Dr. Finn has figured out some method that she can get Elora back in the ship. So Ed heads back to the planet, and they interrupt the hostage session. And I can't remember the guy's the hostage. I can't remember his name, but Billingsley's character tells Robert Picardo to go to the door and get rid of him. And he almost does, but Billingsley's character gets impatient and takes a shot and shoots Ed. And then like shit starts going down. It was like a really good last half of the episode. Elora jumps out of her chair because she can move her legs a little bit, and she tackles the guy's wife, who's also got a gun, and they fight, and she ends up shooting her. Elora kills her right there. Ed is laying on the ground, so when he got shot, he has to wear a spacesuit because of the gravity, and he can't move, so he's pressed against the ground. And it turns out time is running out on his suit, and if he doesn't hurry and get back to the ship under the gravity force field, he's going to crush, just like the bottle did in the beginning when Scott Grimes' character, when Gordon threw the bottle out, he's all, check this out, and he throws the bottle outside of the gravity field and it just crushes. So I knew that would lead to something. So Ed is laying on the ground. In the meantime, Billingsley chases the family up into a room, or Elora leads them up there and tells her dad to jump the fence to go help Ed. He's resistant, you know, he's hesitant to do it, but she talks him in and she's like, you can do it, Dad. And then she has a final confrontation with Billingsley's character, and she shoots him dead, saving her mom and her sister and her dad. But it's not over, because Ed is running out of time. He had 3 minutes, but now we're down to 20 seconds. Elara's dad finally gets over the fence, and when he does, he sees the dead body of the caretaker, who so he obviously got killed too, which we kind of figured. He runs over to Ed and he drags him to the ship, and I knew this was going to happen. I freaking knew it, but they did it anyway. He didn't make it in time, and he crushed both of his legs. And I was like, oh, damn. So yeah, they're not afraid to go there in this show. But they end up saving Ed, and father and daughter saw a side of each other that they haven't seen before. And the father realizes, like, I don't even know you. You know, it's been 20 years and I had all these expectations on you. And and that was a breakthrough. That's what we call a breakthrough. So they end up going back to the ship. Elora is pretty much going to get cured. It's going to be painful, but they can do it. But before she takes her first treatment, she decides to leave. So, and there's a very long emotional scene at the end. And Elora, JP was right. Elora is gone. She's off the show. You wonder what's behind that. Do you think it had anything to do with her and Seth dating? I doubt it had anything to do with it. Maybe she got another role somewhere. Who knows? But it looked like a genuinely emotional scene. Like everybody was bawling, and yeah, and there it ended. And it was a good episode. It was a good episode. I liked it. It had a very slow beginning, kind of like the series has. But if this is the turnaround, and it looks like we got a pretty good episode next week with the Krill. So let's get to the chat, Susan. And first I got to talk. We got some super chats here that I got to get to. Yeah. So we got Movie Fanobi for $1.99. I liked episode 3. Best out of the 4 so far. Hey, you two. We've only had 3, but they could 3 out of 4. That's good. And Movie Fanobi, space bonium, right for you? What's that? Ask your doctor if space bonium can help. What's space bonium, Susan?
Space bonium, I guess it's the equivalent of Viagra.
Oh, okay, bonium. Gotcha. He's got a. My boss has a boner for me. Not that kind of a boner, like a work boner. Are you suffering from bone? Okay, I got you. With bone loss, weakness from arm wrestling, space bonium. I got it. I should read the rest of the super chat before I ask. I could hear Movie Fanobi saying that.
Viagra,
Viagra, space bonium. Yeah. Well, that's the first place my brain went to, so don't feel bad. Let's get up to the chat here. And greetings, everybody. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, jump in the chat. Ask a question. Make sure, super chats are not required. They're always welcome, but they're not required. Just make sure to hit @Nerdrotic channel or @Susan Layton to get our attention. Filthy news.
Everybody wants to know this, Gary.
Sure.
Why did they have Robert Picardo rescue Ed with his bad hand when there's 2 healthy women there that could have done it? That's the big question in the chat.
I was thinking that myself, and the only thing that came to mind was it's Robert Picardo. You're not going to have him saying in back, he's the bigger star. Logically, it makes no sense. You had a young daughter who could have popped over that fence in a second.
Yeah.
And a mom who could have done it too. Yeah. He had the bad hand, but
I think the purpose was, he never told Elora she could do it. So she got to tell her father he could do it. So it was like a role reversal, kind of like emotional catharsis there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely could see that. It didn't make sense though.
No.
But no. I don't. the Orville is a show that scientifically and logically doesn't need to make as much sense as some other shows, because I don't know, my expectations are different. This is a parody. It's a good parody, but it's a parody, and it's better than the show. It parodies the current one that's on the air, Star Trek Discovery. It tells more emotional stories, and at least it's emotionally accurate as far as tugging on the right heartstrings, and that's it does a good job of that. And I genuinely root for characters in this show where I watch Star Trek Discovery and I can't even like anybody in that, and I like Doug Jones. Yeah. So, hey buddy, best episode so far, says the Filthy News. Molly Hagan, that's right. Was also, yes, I knew her from a Star Trek. She was also Vorta on DS9. Thank you. She's been in a million things.
So now they're trying to find out if Surf Trektronics, sorry about that, the Snuffleupagus guy, is he the new security chief? We don't know yet.
Well, they hired him, but then they gave Elora her job back, but then she left. So, I don't know if Patrick Warburton's going to be a regular on the show. That would not be a bad thing, believe me.
or reoccurring at least.
Yeah, that's what I think it would be. Is he's going to be in like maybe 3 or 4 episodes, but I heard she's possibly coming back. Elora's coming back, and they left it open at the end.
Yeah. Well, somebody in the chat said that she's doing a movie and there was a conflict, so that's why she's off for a while. And maybe if that is the case, then she'll come back.
Well, I don't understand why you would do a movie when you have a series going. And unless it's like a Marvel movie, maybe it is. I don't know. What movie is it? It depends on the movie.
No, it isn't. It isn't a Marvel movie.
If some indie flick, I would have stayed on the Orville. That's just me. That's a regular paycheck.
It's let me see here. It is The Last Summer, and
okay, that's like
it's pretty much what it looks like. What you said. It seems it's a comedy about a group of young people in Chicago.
Okay,
they come together before college, so
she made what, 80 grand? I'm serious. That's probably the check she got from that. Maybe 100 grand
per diem along with it. Yeah.
I think she would make more on the Orville. That's just me, but that's questionable. At this rate, the Orville is going. I'm most definitely going to be watching Star Trek Discovery on January 17th. I also heard they're going to be a spinoff with Pike and Spock in the works. Is that true? Are you really going to watch Star Trek Discovery? Oh man, bless your heart. Try. I would rather watch boring Orville episodes than Star Trek Discovery, Tim. I'm sorry, but and if they do a spin-off with Pike and Spock, that might make some people's heads spin.
Thanks, silhouetted animator. $5 super chat. Gary, what did you think about the Endgame news I told you about on Twitter? Were you able to find the interview? Marvel's PR scrubbed it by now.
I will get to it on another show. We're talking about the Orville. Thank you for the $5. I did not see it. I saw are you talking about the Captain Marvel article? I got that. And I'm actually doing a video on that. So if you sent that, thank you very much. They clearly took the music score from Star Trek 3, Climb the Steps of Mount Seleia. Yes. Beat by beat, and just changed the melody slightly. Isn't that still plagiarism? Game part. That's a good question. I don't know. No, if you rearrange notes just slightly, it depends. It depends. Honestly, I don't know. I think they could, because I've heard, I've heard Jerry Goldsmith's, when they're the whole V'ger music thing, and they did that in the first couple episodes of season 1.
I'm thinking it's more like TNG. No, actually, I'm sorry, Voyager.
Well, as far as the transition music when they go to commercial, it's very just anything. It's very Berman Trek.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I kind of miss that. David Beer says the Orville keeps getting better, real characters in space, not just tropes, not just straw people. Fantastic episode. I thought, yes, it rallied. It was a very good episode, and they needed it. They really needed it, because if they had done, they got off to a slow start. But there's another show that did this too. Counterpart got off to a slow start, and the last 2 episodes, it's the best episode. It's the best show on TV. It's mind-blowing how good that is.
JPRPH1, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. STD premieres on my birthday. Thinking of changing my birthday. Good luck with that.
Could you officially do that? Mom, I got some bad news for you. No.
Yeah.
I would. Yes, it premieres on the 17th, and we are going to what we're going to do is kind of what we did for Doctor Who. So I'm going to do a review video on the side. So when we go live afterwards, it'll be straight to you guys. It's just going to be talking Star Trek. And that should be interesting, to say the least. This ship is sick, says Penn Farm Girl. Yeah. So she was also on Legion too. Yeah. She's her
she's
IMDb
all over.
Yeah, her IMDb is full, but it doesn't have the Orville on it.
No, and they'll probably update it later, maybe.
I think the comedy is what makes the Orville unique. It's a mistake to step away from that, says Viking Bitch. I could not agree more. I could not agree more. I agree. I thought it would be boring with the family stuff, but that's the way I felt would be better further in the show's run. But I get that the actress was leaving. Yes. So I think we have our answer to why they ordered the episodes the way they did. Obviously, they had to get to her leaving and look for the show to take a whole different pace from here on out. It depends on whether.
That's like that what I saw for next week seems a lot like the episodes where like Kirk gets stuck on another planet and they have to come rescue him. So I think it's going to kick into high gear next week.
Yeah, it looks like, well, we got the Krill. The Krill are back. Yeah, I think that it is too, but I'm going to read a couple more chats and then we'll talk about that that ratings, because it's bad. It's bad news. It's serious bad news. I hate giving you guys bad news. It's not my favorite thing to do.
Well, we don't know for this week though yet. It could
we don't know. More backstory episodes. Yep. I heard Jessica Shores is coming on the Orville and playing a Chilean security staffer. So okay, so they're gonna no Patrick Warburton then. Oh yeah, yeah. If they just bring in another Chilean, I don't know if that works for me. Well, we'll see. We'll have to see how it works out. Maybe she's good.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay, Silhouetted Animator. I know you get excited about that stuff. It's all good. It's all good, man. Thanks for the super chat. I'll DM you. Wasn't Patrick Stewart rumored to guest star? I don't think so. I could be wrong on that one though. I am not completely 100% dialed in on especially when he's getting his own series, John.
After 34 pitches or 34 page pitch.
Yeah, 34-page pitch. He probably just said yes so they'd stop.
Just stop.
Fine. I'll take the damn show. Make it show. Just don't say anymore. And can I have that in cash, please? Will you be covering a final Killjoy season? I love the name, Zaphod 703. Unfortunately, I will not be covering it. There's a lot of TV coming up, especially like this week it's on. It starts this week. We got Deadly Class is coming up. The Passage is next week. Future Man is next week. Of course, there's Counterpart, True Detective, all kinds of stuff coming on. Plus, I'm recording videos as well. Lots of videos. There's tons.
Can't wait for True Detective.
Why don't you pick a couple chats there? Susan?
Yeah, sure. Neurotic channel. So with Orville and STD going at the same time, will you be doing around the same time? How will you be handling that?
Oh, that's a good question. It's if you go to nerdrotic.com, you'll see how it's scheduled for next week. So the plan is because Star Trek Discovery is premiering, and quite frankly, it gets more. Well, it depends. It depends on what gets more love. But Star Trek Discovery gets more attention on this channel. So we're gonna start, and plus it airs earlier. So we're gonna start with Star Trek Discovery, do the recap, and then I'm going to watch the Orville. So it takes like an hour break. And then we're going to do an Orville recap after that. But if you go to nerdrotic.com, our schedule's there. I believe Star Trek Discovery airs at 7 or 5:30 p.m. my time. I could be wrong. They change the times all the time. They could be at the same damn time. So if it does, Star Trek Discovery will be first. Then we'll do the Orville. Good question. Thanks. Elara's dad was the subject of revenge. So if he assassinates, if the assailant sees him going over, his attention is there, and he might not be. Okay, so you're saying that if the guy saw him going over the railing It takes the attention away from Elora, who was hiding in the bathroom. That makes sense. Well, also, yeah, you got to take into account, like, so if I'm the dad in that situation, I'm not going to send my wife and daughter, even though they're totally capable and strong, powerful women. They're going in the bathroom, and I'll go because, like, I'm the one who's going to get shot. And that's basically what Elora had to talk her dad into doing. So there you go. We worked it out.
Hey, Silhouetted, thanks for the $5 super chat. My fear if Orville gets canceled at Fox, that CBS might try to prevent other networks or services from picking it up. Well, good luck with that one, because Fox has a crack team of lawyers. And if they want to duke that one out, go right ahead.
Well, it's now Disney's crack team of lawyers as well.
Yeah.
So CBS is, no, they might be able to try to intimidate like little folks like us and poor Anas Abdin, who's not a little person, by the way. He's a giant of a man and a champion of small creators, Anas Abdin. But they tried Disney, and that's Does a boot concern itself with an ant? Is that what Loki said?
Yeah, I mean, if they tried to do it, I don't think it would be in their best interest. It would probably hurt them in the long run, because it would then turn into the Star Wars miasma that's going on, where the creators are biting back and the fans and that whole war thing. I mean, they're already having that now, and it'll just get worse for them.
Yeah, it will. It will. I know you're thirsty, TM Martin, for good sci-fi, but like, honestly, you're not going to like my opinion of Star Trek Discovery then, because it's not good. Sorry. But go watch The Expanse. Just watch The Expanse again. I'd rather watch an Expanse episode for like the 90th time than a nanosecond of Star Trek Discovery. There's a bunch of there's a lot of old Star Trek that you can watch on Netflix too. That's a great old Star Trek. I went back and watched Enterprise, which is a show I was totally down on, and had because of Star Trek Discovery, I ended up liking it. I was like, I was a little hard on the show. It's not so bad. First couple seasons kind of rough, and then that last episode was god awful, but it was good. I liked it. I ended up enjoying it. There's a lot of things they did. Hey, Star Trek Discovery did not corner the market on screwing up canon, that's for sure. But they just do it the best. Yeah, Patrick Stewart's not going to be on the Orville. No way.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks is like, Orville may have a couple of slow shows, but it does not have the systematic issues of Doctor Who. If I wanted social preaching, I'd watch Who. Well, that's true. We're not getting that.
Bad social preaching. Yeah. I mean, like, I can get bad social preaching on the street in San Francisco.
Yeah.
All I do is walk outside.
Yeah, literally.
Please don't compare the Snorville. Why do you come to the recaps if you don't like the Orville, SC? It's full of tropes, and oh boy. I think SC's mom works for Star Trek Discovery or something like that. I'm not really that sure, but
let's I'm going to say this. Star Trek Discovery this is what's happening with it. This is the Star Trek for a new generation. They're starting their own thing. The Orville is something different. The Orville is going to feel more like home for people that have been with Star Trek for a long time. There's going to be people that like Discovery that, have been truckers for a long time as well. But the thing of it is that, a lot of us are moving away from that and going to the Orville because it's more familiar there. You get that sense of family. Star Trek worked because it was a family. You cared about those characters. You cared about, in the original series, you cared about Spock and McCoy and Kirk, and you didn't have all these, ancillary characters with their little stories going on that you're like, what? Who are you again? it was a core group of people. You weren't trying to do 80 million things at once. It's about family. You get that with the Orville. You care about these people. And that's why fans that love Star Trek in the past are gravitating toward the Orville. That's just my feeling on it, you know. And there's people out there that probably love Discovery that love Star Trek for years, and that's fine. But the Orville, that's got that Star Trek family feeling. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, no, there's nothing to be sorry about. Star Trek was away for a good long time, and we had, JJ Trek, which is now dead, by the way.
Yeah.
It's dead. It was dead because, bottom line, lack of interest. The last movie didn't do well at all because people weren't into it. Because for whatever reason, I would say that, even though JJ didn't have anything to do with that third movie, he did what he always does. He starts something that, listen, the 2009 movie was interesting because it had a great cast, but he bailed, didn't finish the project, didn't finish what he started. So yeah, that's typical JJ, and that's dead now. So and everything is falling in. Well, listen, there's a lot of people out there who don't believe when we and other places report the news. We've got insiders, okay, and I've got more than one, and I haven't said anything yet. All I could say is some of the stuff out there is 100% true. Sorry, I mean, I don't make this stuff up. I mean, I honestly don't care, but it's that's the way it is. And if Star Trek Discovery is successful, it brings in record subscribers to CBS All Access. Yeah, we're probably going to get more, but that has to happen. That has to happen, and it has to happen at a very high level. We'll just say, thank you for the $5 super chat. The Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews. Hi, my name is Andrew from Pontypridd, and I am more hardcore Whovian than I got to remember to say his name right. It's Bowler's Trek. I have been watching since 1963. That is a hardcore Whovian, my friend.
Wow.
Props, respect. Yeah, that's longer than I've been alive, my friend.
That's
so yes. That's cool. That's awesome. We love hardcore Whovians. And listen, yeah, I don't compare. That's why, like, even with new fans, it's okay to be new fans, but you've heard my analogy. We have a lot of new fans in here, and they just want to, they're like, okay, you're old, bye. It's like, it doesn't really work like that. Not in genre, and they're finding out. Alex Brown says the Orville is fantastic. It is. It's filling a need. Honestly, we'll see how season 2 does, though. The ratings do have to pick up, guys.
Yeah.
So we need more people to watch. And that is a fact. So we're going to end this one. Sorry if I didn't get to everybody's chat there. I got to keep this one short because I got to go record a video that's supposed to come out tomorrow morning. We will be back next Thursday for our Orville recap. Susan?
Yeah.
Great episode.
It was. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like you said, at first it was a little slow, but the only problem for me, and I guess I'm looking at it from a writer's perspective, is I kind of knew where they were going with it. I knew what they were going to do. I was like, okay, the minute she had her little talk with Robert Picardo, and then the whole thing with with John Billingsley coming in and Molly Hagan, and at first it seemed okay, but when they turned into the actual people that are going to threaten the lives of everyone, I knew Elora was going to somehow need that catalyst to get herself moving again. So I kind of was like, yeah, I can see where this one's going. And that for me was the only disappointing thing. But, yeah. I enjoyed it thoroughly, though.
Yeah, I did too. That's the thing. I think it's tempered expectations with this show because, listen, most of the shows are going to be taken from Star Trek. I heard somebody actually complaining about that. And I'm like, and that's a decent complaint. If that's not what you're looking for, that's fine. But it's a Star Trek parody, so they're not going to just look copy the uniforms and the ship styles and the aesthetic. They're going to take stories too.
Yeah.
They're going to try to do things with these stories that Star Trek couldn't or wouldn't do at the time.
It's the feel.
Yeah.
It's the feel of it. And I think that's why, like I said, that's why I love it so much, is that it's giving people the characters to love and the family that they need, that they aren't being provided with in shows that are actual part of the canon. And I use that with quotation marks.
Yeah. Matthew, yeah, at first I thought it was a setup for her father to give her purpose. Yeah, that's where I thought they were going. I thought it was just going to be straight up like her and her dad were going to have a nice long conversation at the beach at the end, and she's going to have to save him or something. Like he's like going to be fall off a cliff and she'll have to get out of her chair or something like that. So I'm glad, this sounds terrible, I'm glad they were taken hostage and there was some action and people died. So we're gonna end it there. Sorry, folks. Thanks for hanging in there. We had a lot of viewers tonight. You guys are great. We'll see you next Thursday. Our next live show is tomorrow night. We're gonna do Friday Night Tights, 7 p.m.
Should we have a quick word about the ratings?
Yeah.
Look, everybody, if you like the Orville, get your friends to watch it. Get your family to watch it, because we don't have the ratings in for tonight's episode. Obviously, they'll be in tomorrow, but a 2 million drop in viewers from December 30th to January 3rd is not good. It doesn't bode well. And even though Seth is a cash cow for Fox, ratings, dollars, that's what they're interested in. So if you like the Orville, try and watch it when it airs. If you can't do that, watch it within 3 to 7 days on your DVR, and that's how the ratings will count. I understand Nielsen is kind of antiquated, but numbers, that's what the networks look at. And because they have to, the commercials and all that. So make sure you're watching it. Try to watch it when it airs. That's important. But, before we start hashtagging it, save Orville, I want to see what the ratings were for tonight's episode. But if they're going down the tubes, we may need to start something soon.
Yep. Yeah. Very soon, which sucks. I wish they would just do, of course they won't for, commercial reasons and stuff. But I mean, YouTube actually has the simplest way of doing it. Just straight up, your clicks are there. Cobra Kai. Last time I checked, it was 50 million. And that way you could, they are starting to count ratings a year out now. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a video where they talked about that, where they did some Doctor Who.
Wow.
Yeah, they did some Doctor Who ratings a year out. So, and as long as stuff is on the air, it should count. If it rebroadcasts, it should count as a view. So, and that, I think that would tell a different story. And, listen, the UK is way ahead of us on that. Like, they count out 7 days. Now, I don't know if it's all legit. That's another question, but I don't know if our stuff is legit, to be honest with you. All right, everybody, have a very good night. Susan, plug your wares.
Yep. Hey, you can see me on 1428elm.com. That's where I am. You can also find me when I'm not here doing the Orville or Friday Night Tights. You can also get me on Twitter at Susan on the Ledge, and Instagram on De Facto Scribe, and also on Facebook.
All right. And you know where to find our stuff. Nerdrotic.com. That's where all our stuff is, nerdrotic.com, and that's where our live schedule is. And again, I'll see you all tomorrow night. Look for a Doctor Who video sometime in the morning-ish. It depends on how fast I finish it tonight. And everybody have a great night. Say goodnight, Susan.
Yep. See everybody. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate it.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Bye-bye.